now this is the real thing. Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very, very special video edition of Fire Them Cannons. As you can see, for many months, and obviously up to the year now, it's almost a year anniversary of Fire Them Cannons. Obviously, Cal and I have been, chatting. We made a podcast on StreamYard or on YouTube via, kind of StreamYard, chatting on from our own separate locations. One Cal in Brisbane, me in Melbourne. But now, for the first time, obviously, we are here live. I guess in studio, you can say.
Yeah.
Me and Cal, how's it going, buddy?
Ooh,
Finally.
Yeah.
In the flesh, we're here. Fire Them Cannons.
Yeah. For the first time we're doing a live session, and it's gonna be good, guys. It's gonna be really good. We're gonna have a couple of videos coming out, but this one here we wanted to start off with something that we haven't done before because as you know, I took a break from the whole YouTube streaming thing, and I'm back. I've been doing a couple lives with Anton, and we've been doing our show for the last couple of weeks, and but we never actually did a season review on the season and how we became champions, and we thought it'd be a pretty awesome idea to just do one. How did we get here? All the trials and tribulations we went through. How did the season go? And even like the build up through all the years, the pain. What broke me last season?
You know what? If you wanna go behind the curtain, we can.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Yeah. To be honest with you, like obviously winning that title meant a lot to all of us. And yeah, to be honest, but that season, the way Arsenal, we always do things the hard way. You know what I'm talking about? And let me tell you something. The Wolves game was the game that like literally got me to take a break from Arsenal for a little bit, because
But
that one was cooked.
before we get into any of that stuff, remember, hit the like button. Hit the like button, dude. Guys, we are doing it in studio, live, face-to-face video. That deserves like you smashing the likes. All right. And of course, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to Fire Them Cannons. We're looking at the numbers. We are almost halfway to minimal monetization on the channel, which in a year I think is pretty good.
Yeah.
We need about another 300 or so subs and keep these videos rolling, and we'll get there. I believe that this channel, this community, we want to build, as we set out to a year ago, just an awesome community of Arsenal fans who don't just crash out, don't just get into all the clickbaity, rage baity topics. We want to discuss the football, discuss Arsenal, and grow more in depth, and kind of just have a real conversation about Arsenal. And it's been almost an entire year of doing that, which is which is so awesome. So make sure you're liking the like button and subscribing. And of course, Cal did crash out after the Wolves game, and I'm happy you came out and admitted that. So.
Yeah. That was a massive crash out. But before we get to the crash out, I want to let's take it back to just. I think it'll be good to start off with just the build up to the season, like in terms of the build up to.
I think it's
last
really important. I actually think, because we're in the transfer window now.
Yeah.
And we're talking about how important some of these transfers are. Now we're coming from a position of league champions, which is I think a position of strength. But last year, a year ago, we were in a much different position.
Yeah.
It was make or break. We were all talking about, and I feel like this is a good way to set the stage.
Yeah.
We were talking about Mikel Arteta. If he does not deliver the title this season, if he does not win us a trophy this season, I think there was mostly, unless you are a really staunch Arteta winner, I think there was mostly a unanimous sort of, what's the word I'm looking for?
Consensus
around the fan base.
Yeah, but
that was the case.
And the thing is, it was gonna get violent, because I remember I was watching some content creators, and they were saying, I'll actually give Arteta 2 more years. I don't care if he doesn't win next season, and that would enrage like a lot of Arsenal fans, and I think it was getting to the point where it was just too much, and I think it's because of the three second place finishes. You know what I'm talking about? Like that first season, 22-23, we we challenged and we didn't expect the challenge, and that was an amazing season. We played attacking football, and that was like really punching the league in the mouth because we failed to make top four, and so we're in Europa League, and no one's expecting us to do anything. We get Jesus, we get Zinchenko, and we completely blitz the league, and we fail at the end. It was literally City's best team ever, the one that won the treble that we lost to. So no harm, no foul. Plus Saliba got injured. Second season after that, that's when we had the doubters. That was the people don't remember this, but going into that season, a lot of the times people said that title challenge was a fluke. You're not even going to get top four next season. Like you're just going to go back to being bottom feeders. That didn't happen. Everyone likes to pretend that that wasn't the narrative going into the 23-24 season, but it was. People didn't even think we would get top four that season, and they were like in the summer saying that we weren't going to do anything special. That's the Declan Rice summer. Um, but we did, and that season actually, that was a season that we lost on Christmas.
And New Year's.
No, we lost on New Year's,
I
and
think I think both.
did we lose on both?
Wasn't West Ham? I think West Ham was on Boxing Day.
Yeah, and then Fulham was New Year's, right?
Yeah.
And that game, I can't remember. Was over at my friends. I was watching that, and I literally turned it off when we conceded the second goal because it's like I'm not ruining my New Year's like this. This is terrible. I was like just crashing out on that one, and that the whole fan base we kind of gave up. After we uh conceded and lost that game, and people were saying, yeah, we're just gonna have to try and maybe like yeah. So, but during that was actually we went to where did we go? The players went on holiday.
Oh, they went to Dubai.
Yes, the Dubai trip. And then we come back from Dubai and we literally win like almost every single game once we come back from Dubai. So it was actually insane. We won every game and we lost no, we drew with Man City
We
and we lost to Aston Villa.
I think that was it.
We won every other game.
Yeah.
That was like our best run. I think that was actually our best run that we've ever had. Under Arteta, by the way, that streak. No, the 22-23 streak. That first streak was actually not.
No, I don't think it got to that point.
It wasn't like half the season.
No, but in 22-23 though, what we did have at the 50% mark of the halfway point of the season, we had 50 points.
Yeah, we had 50 points out of the season. That was crazy. That was nuts. That was actually crazy. But I think it was more impressive on the 2023-24 that run because everyone's like, oh, you're gonna fall off in April, you're gonna fall off. And we never did. We never did fall off. And that was the same season that people were saying, yeah, in the Champions League, we all know you're gonna like fall off in the round of 16. And we didn't fall off in the round of 16. We played we beat Porto in penalties, and then we played Bayern Munich, and yeah, we lost in the quarterfinals in that one. The Kimmich goal still that's still in my brain.
So I think Champions League another topic we have to get to in this because
I think it's all part of the run. It's all part of the
yeah. I think
It's
it
all
is,
that.
but I think what's one thing that people need to put into context, and maybe look. I think we're skipping steps. So we want to start, but making it to a Champions League final. I want to make this very, very clear. Obviously, we're disappointed to have not won, but we also went into that game a week after being crowned Premier League champions, having lifted the trophy. And look, I understand there are a lot of things, and Arsenal fans, Cal will tell you that the amount of possession we had in the game, the way we conceded possession to PSG, the way we were very passive in our approach to that final. But just being there and losing to a team of that quality on pens, to having not conceded to a team of that quality in open play, having been in, by the way, context, the final. So Cal mentions that season, that was the first season that Arsenal were back in the Champions League.
Yeah. Well, how long was it before we?
It was a while. It was like eight, maybe almost a decade. It was since first time since Arsene Wenger, because when Arsene Wenger left his last season, we lost the semifinals to Atletico Madrid in the Europa League. That was the first year. Then after that year, we had Emery his first season. We made it to the final all the way.
in the Europa
and
League.
Europa League lost to Chelsea.
In Belgium.
Then we had some really embarrassing ones where we lost to like Olympiacos in the last 16.
Yeah.
We lost in the semifinals to Villarreal. That was the first season under Arteta.
Yeah.
And we lost to Sporting on penalties.
The Sporting goal that it was like the halfway from the halfway line.
No, under Arteta was when we lost to Olympiacos, right? That was under Emery. That was Arteta. That was Arteta's first season.
Yeah.
Then we had this final run.
Yeah.
We lost the semifinal to Emery, right? Then it was, I think, the Sporting. The next year was the Sporting one, and then we were back in the champs.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
So it was a long time coming, and that was but prior to that, when all of our years under Arsene Wenger, a lot of us actually used to say like, "There's no point being in this competition."
It was called the round of Arsenal.
Yeah, if we couldn't make it out of that last 16, if we were so superiorly out qualitied by most of the European giants,
so getting to the quarterfinal in that
it wasn't even quarterfinal, it was last 16.
Getting to the quarterfinals in the just taking it back to the 23-24 season, that was a big achievement for us at the time, because it was the first time we got out of the round of 16 in like what, 12 years. Like, how long was it actually?
I remember exactly when the last time we went out of the round of 16. It was the year I turned 18. It was just after my 18th birthday, because Messi scored like 3 or 4 goals in the one game when we went to the Bernabeu, because we had it was the famous game where it was 2-2. Arsenal were 2-0 down. Arsenal made it 2-2. Or is it? I remember it finished 2-2 at the Emirates. I remember Ibrahimovic was playing. It was the last season of Ibrahimovic at Barcelona, and we went back to the new camp. Nicholas Bentner put us 1-0 up, and Messi then absolutely dominated us. That was in 2010. So this was what this is the 04, 05, 03, 04, right?
That's 14.
2024, 2023, 24. 22, 23 was the title.
No, 23, 24. 23, 24 was when we're back in the Champions League.
Yeah, so the first time, 14 years.
Yeah, 14 years. So yeah, that's disgusting. But yeah, so that was a big achievement for us. But then we go on that insane run. We lose the league on the last day of the season. We lose to Aston Villa. Fuck Unai Emery. Honestly, that guy stinks. And we draw with Manchester City, and Manchester City players saying, we don't have what it takes to win, Rodri. That's what he's saying, telling us. So yeah. So that was a bit of heartbreak, but we were really proud. We felt really good at the end of that season. I think the summer after that season was our mistake. That was probably our biggest mistake that we made in the Arteta era in terms of the summer, in my opinion.
I think that's the reason why we changed at the sporting directors.
Yeah.
If I'm just being blunt.
Because Mikel Moreno, Calafiori,
well, both have been pretty decent.
I mean, they were not what we. Arteta, like, people don't really understand. Arteta is he's a genius, because in terms of how he's able to repurpose players and to really try and we didn't even talk about Kai Havertz in the 23-24 season, by the way, how he kind of derailed
the first. We did this podcast, double in size.
Yeah.
So.
He derailed the first half of the season, but he in 2024 year, that the second half of the first half of 2024, which is the second half of the 23-24 season, he's been living off those stocks. He's been living off those stocks for like his entire time at Arsenal, but that's a whole different thing. He was amazing in that half. That was his best run that he's had in Arsenal. But yeah, anyway, I digress. The summer after that, when we should have been really pushing for that title, Mikel Moreno, which is like, honestly, even when we look at Mikel Moreno now, he's a meme, but he's not in our top 2 striking players, and he's not in
top 4
midfielders.
Probably about. Look, I'm trying to think. Do we count 10s, or are we just talking about his?
Even in the 10, he's third choice.
Yeah, or even 4th. You got
yeah. So he's not really working out. Calafiori.
I mean, to be honest, I think there is I think with Marino, it's more of one of these players where he may not be in your top 3 or in your top 4 or wherever in each position, but he will find his way into a starting 11 for or as a super sub because he's like a wild card.
The thing was,
you know, you could just plug him in whenever you need.
The thing is Moreno.
Yeah.
First of all, we didn't buy him to. We bought
him to be Declan Rice's
partner in midfield. Yeah, but like
he's not.
He wasn't used for what he was bought for. Yeah. And he's serviceable, but he's not really a player that we're saying that's gonna win us anything really. Like, let's be honest about him. He's a little bit of a cult following, but let's be honest, that's not someone to take you. He's not the difference maker that we needed to win the league after the 23-24 season.
Calafiori, on the other hand, though, I felt like that
first season was terrible for.
I was very excited for Calafiori. I'll be honest, because I felt like I saw what City was doing, and I felt like we were in this mold of Pep Guardiola had this style of City. By the way, Pep Guardiola liked to play center backs who could play fullbacks. I looked at Josko Gvardiol as sort of the prototype of what he was going for with Calafiori, which is a center back stroke left back who has very free roll to roam around the pitch and pop up wherever he kind of wants, and he still kind of is.
Calafiori kind of became a lot better this season, but in that 24 in the 24-25 season, he had injury issues. It wasn't looking great. He would just get injured every time he come on.
Beat out by miles.
So in terms of, we had a Mikel Moreno at the time, not at the time when we bought them, Mikel Moreno wasn't working. And he wasn't even of the levels when we bought him. And Calafiori is like an unknown. We bought.
We're getting ready for it. The 2 loan signings on the last day.
We got Timber.
No, Timber was the year before. Timber was Rice's year. It was Timber, Rice, Havertz.
Oh, because Timber got the ACL.
Yeah, Timber came back.
Yeah, Timber. So we didn't sign Timber. Okay, so get that off. Because Timber got the ACL. So now he's gone for a season, but like, so we didn't actually sign him that season. Rashford on deadline.
I wish
it wasn't Rashford. It was
Raheem Sterling.
Was that the only 3? No.
Neto, the backup keeper.
Oh, was that the entire?
Do you remember who Arsenal were targeting to?
Was that the entire summer? No,
that was the entire summer. No, there was nobody else.
No, there was someone else.
No, there was nobody else.
I remember people saying 7 out of 10. People were saying 7 out of 10.
What? Dude,
the window.
You know what I said for that window? A 2.
Oh my god!
I might have raised a little bit because I think Calafiori has become a starting level player.
Oh yeah. Calafiori's like.
But the Sterling
at the time.
What I didn't really like about that summer, I'll be honest. And look, I have reason for why I believe that summer is, and I think had we not won the league, this summer would have looked like that as well. It's because Arsenal like to pay for big transfer fees in installments. So the year before that, you had 105 million for Declan Rice. You bought 65 million for Kai Havertz. Timber was some 40 odd million or something in there as well. Was there somebody else in that summer? I'm trying to recall who we would have brought in, or I think Kivior. No, or that was the January before that.
Yeah, Kivior was in January.
I think was there something
I think Kivior and Trossard they came in the same time, didn't they?
Kivior, Trossard, and Jorginho came at the same time, right?
That was actually an elite January.
That's a very good January.
That's an elite.
Was it just the 3?
Yeah. Because we haven't bought in January ever since.
No, but talking about that summer, the before when we challenged.
Yeah, I don't think it was much. No.
But anyway, regardless, Arsenal like to play to spend money, like most clubs do, in installments, because we didn't have like what we had this summer, which was prize money.
Yeah.
Which and basically what the prize money we were able to do was basically just rather than installments, we were just basically able to go like, hey, we'll just pay off our debt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now we're able to go again.
And at the time, I don't think the Cronkies understood how big the fan base actually was yet, so they weren't really willing to invest.
I think they felt like we got
either that or it was just absolute garbage.
But look, there were a lot of parts to that window which we remember. We started the window really. I feel like we're gone way off topic.
This is the build up.
Yeah, but I feel like we started that window really going hard for Sesko. He renewed with Leipzig.
And and we were going for Nico Williams as well, and that didn't work either.
Oh yeah, that's right, because that was the Euros.
We-
And then we had the secret German discussion, which went nowhere.
Yeah,
I don't even remember.
Dude, we suffer. So
Look, I remember we were looking at Osimhen, and we were looking at Gyökeres. I remember they were like,
were we looking at Gyökeres that summer?
there were really light links, but Arsenal never took any action upon it.
Yeah.
And remember, Chelsea was going after Osimhen, and there are a lot of Arsenal fans were like, "Come on, Arsenal, get me a Victor." I remember
was this when this guy was still in the league? He went to the World Cup and didn't play because he plays in Saudi now.
Oh, Tony.
Yeah.
Oh, Ivan Toney
Ivan
was
Toney,
they were
yeah.
talking about Ivan. I thought maybe they were gonna pull off an Ivan Toney on deadline day or something like that.
Yeah.
The keeper who is at Barcelona now, that was the guy we actually wanted to get as our backup to Raya, which is insane.
Wait, did we get Raya on loan that summer?
We got Raya on loan the summer of Rice and Timber and Havertz.
Oh, and that's why.
I remember there's a fourth guy. Yes.
Yeah, and that's the season we kept doing
but this next one we got him on permanent.
Yeah, but the season before that we had the whole Ramsdale Raya nonsense that we had to deal with, for the entire season though. But yeah, the 23-24 summer was actually the 24-25 summer was probably our worst summer that we've had under
Since
Arteta.
we've started challenging.
Yeah. Under Arteta,
which I think was, to be honest, looking back retrospectively,
and that's why we were so terrible in the league.
But I think looking back retrospectively, I think we needed that fuck up, because I do believe, and I know people will say that Edu walked away on himself. He got a new challenge with Forest. Sorry. I'm just going to make something very clear. And the logic for me at the time didn't make sense, which is, why would you leave Arsenal as the sporting director of Arsenal Football Club to become the sporting director of Nottingham Forest?
But to be honest, he was
do you know what I mean? No one knows. No one
the thing is
knowingly making that decision.
I think the reports were saying that, first of all, Arteta, a lot of the suggestions he was making, Arteta didn't like, and would just say no. And then I think it was a result of him maybe throwing the toys out the pram. He didn't get anyone. That's just speculation on my part. But he had pre-agreements with Forest.
Reading between the lines.
Yeah, he had pre-agreements with Forest as well before we were even looking at other sporting directors.
Yeah, I just felt like
he screwed us.
We were looking for a forward,
and we got him.
And we got Raheem Sterling.
And we got him because of his Brazilian links, and we never got any good Brazilians. We
did. We got Gabriel. That was Edu. Like.
Yeah. I mean,
so that's a big one.
Yeah, Martinelli.
Look, to be honest, for a while, hey, everyone knows how Cal feels about Martinelli, and if you want, he can clarify his feelings on Martinelli. But up until a few years ago, especially that first year we were 22, 23, Martinelli was very good. Martinelli was really good, and Martinelli also in that year, we took it to the year 23, 24. Look, I think him and Trossard, both, I feel like I could have played either of them and had confidence in either of them, and they were offering you different things. One was the speed, one was the
Martinelli was.
They were both good. You don't get that consistency.
Martinelli was a good find because you don't get Prem level.
I feel like Martinelli's
still a Prem level player.
I'm going to be honest. I think Martinelli started to drop off in his form at the same time when Martin Odegaard started to drop off in his form. And I don't believe that was a coincidence.
I think it's a confidence thing for them.
But yeah, again, I still think it's a confidence for both of them. But Odegaard at his best was finding that Martinelli in the right positions, and it was not happening anymore. The ball was zipping around, and
I think they needed perfect conditions in order to perform, and that's why they're not performing the same way. But I digress.
Yeah.
So that was the worst.
But I felt like because of that, I'm gonna be frank, and I know people will be like, "Hey, Anton, you're making shit up." I'll be honest. I have no idea. I'm not behind the scenes at Arsenal, but I felt like that summer, Raheem Sterling, the way that season went, the fact that Arsenal had so many injuries and had nothing in we honestly let's put this into context. We bought Raheem Sterling on deadline day when we really needed a serious right winger. We were looking at Nico Williams on the left hand side. We're looking at the ambition they're also showing now. You can kind of see that it was always kind of there for us to do if we wanted to really just shake some feathers, and try to find themselves a really quality players. And we ended up with Raheem Sterling on loan. And what happened at around December time that season? Bukayo Saka, after us overusing him, and we saw the writing on the wall.
We kept saying it. We kept saying it.
And he hasn't been the same since, really.
Yeah, he's still. Yeah.
And for me, I feel like that is when you started to hear the rumors. Edu is going to be stepping away around the end of January. Yeah. And whether you believe it or not, apparently he was the one who got Zubamendi.
Yeah, he did the program for Zubamendi
as a parting shot. And even that January was absolutely frustrating.
Oh, we had one. We had
exactly
24.
We had no strikers. They were all injured.
Yeah, we had no strikers, and we didn't get anyone. Arteta was begging people to get strikers. Didn't get anyone.
We tried to get Ollie Watkins on deadline day.
Saka got injured against Crystal Palace, like before, so like before the January window, Saka got injured by Crystal Palace. So yeah, so we had enough time. We didn't do anything. Kai Havertz got injured, so we had to play Mikel Moreno up front. Jesus was already injured. He was injured like over and over and over again. That season was a terrible season for the league. To the point where we literally gave up on the league.
Yeah.
Completely. And decided
I felt like we were going for the champs. Yeah.
We were going for the champs, and that was basically the season where my favorite game ever of Arsenal played was when we beat Real Madrid.
Yeah.
That was a game where, we got the 0% chance you're going to win.
But again, I think I felt in that respect, that was what I came away from that season. Actually, this is a great segue to the summer and how we built that next season. I'll tell you how I felt as a fan. And I told this on Dan and Anton show when I was with Dan. At that time, we just got knocked out to PSG. By the way, what a run. Beating Real Madrid, so comprehensively over.
And by the way, Partey cost us in the first leg.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
He got a stupid yellow card and got suspended for the first half of the PSG game.
Yeah, but we beat Real Madrid comprehensively over 2 legs, in my opinion. But PSG exposed something in Arsenal in that game. In fact, I feel like it's done it twice last time we played PSG. I think they exposed a lot. They should have exposed Liverpool. They exposed Chelsea in this World Champions League as well. That's just because I think they're the standard at the moment.
Yeah. But
it exposed a lot of what the weaknesses were. The Arsenal's most obvious weakness, and I think we all knew it. We were all crying for it in January. Mikel Moreno worked enough to beat Real Madrid, and credit to him, I think. But when we needed to create, and we created a lot of the XG we scored, we got over 2 legs over PSG was absolutely fucking insane.
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you. We played a better game in that second PSG game that we played in the final.
Yeah. And
we actually created the chances in that PSG game.
Yeah.
Donnarumma had like an after.
What did we not have? We didn't have anybody to finish. And obviously what came out a little bit, a few weeks before the PSG, was that we would hire Andrea Berta as our new sporting director.
Yeah.
And a few days after that, after we went out to PSG, and I think it was a bit of PR from Arsenal, but I think it worked for me, and I think they followed through on it. Fabrizio out of nowhere just tweets, Zubamendi to Arsenal, here we go.
Yeah, we got that.
And I'm like, Martin Zubamendi. And by the way, I still rate Zubamendi highly. But you remember at the time, Liverpool were about to be crowned the champions. This is a player who skipped out on playing for Liverpool.
Yeah.
Right? To stay in Sociedad, to stay in San Sebastian. Playing in Spain was so important, this player. And I'm like, here we go, Martin Zubamendi. Like, Arsenal have convinced Martin Zubamendi, who would never leave Spain, to come play for Arsenal in England.
Yeah.
And for me, learning more about that deal, I'm like, okay, forget about this season. We have a few games left to go, whatever.
We just have to make sure that
and we were having I remember most Gooners, I think, were along the same lines as me. We're like, whatever, fuck this season. Let's start talking transfers before the season's over.
Yeah, we're done.
We had Hand of Arsenal really starts to appear as a massive
as a proper ITK.
ITK. He starts telling us about Arsenal's interest in Rodrigo. David Ornstein, by the way, one that the what's it called, the tweet that everyone forgot. Arsenal exploring a deal for Victor Gyökeres. Andrea Berta very much is a fan of Victor Gyökeres and wants to bring him to Arsenal.
Yeah.
Right? Which, by the way, that's the last time that he speaks of striker until Victor Gyökeres' deal starts to advance. By the way, big up to David Ornstein.
Yeah, that summer was also.
But I was like,
I
was like, we were told, hey, Arsenal is going to go big this summer. They're looking for a striker, which I felt Arsenal was not addressing for many years.
We kept talking about it every single summer.
They were looking for a left winger, which I don't think we really got at the end. And they were looking for like a central midfield partner, and of course we really got it in Martin Zubimendi.
And what the Sesko
it was as if
Sesko Gyökeres back and forth. That saga was
absolutely. But even before that, I felt like I knew at the time. I'm going to be honest, because I always felt like it was the transfer window the year before, as we've already covered, that fucked us up that last season prior, and it exposed our lack of depth.
Yeah.
That Arteta was like, hey, before this was the rhetoric. If you guys, all Gooners, remember this, Arteta likes to have a small squad. He likes to have players who can play in so many different positions.
I think internal solutions was like the catchphrase for everything. Every time we got an injury and there was a January window coming around, like 3 years in a running, it was like internal solutions.
And by the way, to be fair, Miles Skelly emerges.
Yeah.
In that season,
Ethan Nwaneri emerges. Those were the two bright spots of the season. To be honest, they saved the season in terms of hope. You know what I mean? Saying?
To be fair, Ethan had with Saka out. Was more of an important player for Arsenal than Sterling, who we brought in. To do that job.
He was
right. So
Sterling scored 1 goal. Against Bolton.
I think getting those two and I think we'll talk about Ethan, I guess, as we talk about the season moving on. But at the time, I felt like, all right, well, those are 2 signings we don't need to make now.
Yeah.
Because now we've gotten Ethan Nwaneri, who, for all intents and purposes at the time, had beaten out our big summer signing in Calafiori to the left back position. And we were like, wow.
You mean MLS?
MLS.
Yeah.
Who did I say?
I think you said Ethan.
Did I say Ethan Nwaneri? I meant MLS, right? And you're like, wow. So for me, it's like, cool, that's another position we didn't need to cover. But Arsenal that season really, I felt, learnt from the mistakes of last year. And this is where I truly, when it comes down to anything that happened last season, and I feel like as we go through how the season unfolded, it comes to pass. This was the top thing that I felt won us the league, which was, we're not going to leave any stone unturned. Even if we have a ton of injuries, we still want to be able to win the league. We're not going to have any excuses.
This was our last summer was like our best summer pretty much ever. So we got Victor Gyökeres over the line. We signed Zubimendi. Even though it was a programmer from January, he came in, so that was technically like a summer signing as well. We got Arteta'S, which is something that we weren't expecting.
That's the debut of this program.
Yeah, Arteta'S. We thought he was going to play on the left wing, but he ended up being more of a 10, but we thought he was the left wing option. It was the Arteta'S and Rodrigo, like either or, but we ended up getting...
Or both, we were thinking.
Yeah, which never works. It never works. So Eze, we got Nkapie as well. And then we also got...
Nani
Madueke.
And Norgard, who we've now just sold, of course.
Nani Madueke, Norgard, Mosquera.
We bought 8.
And Kepa.
We bought 8.
That's 8.
Yeah. And by the way, I reckon I think we covered this before. I think about 5 out of 8 hit.
Yeah.
I would say Kepa and Norgard for sure didn't hit. Noni, I'd still say TBD. He has a chance to redeem himself. But for me, as of now, has not hit. Right?
Nani Madueke is like
Look, I don't want to be caught on the end of if he does something because he's a talent, and I mean Cal actually
he's
spoke early. He's
25.
is he 25? Anyway, he's got really raw talent. He just doesn't like have any finishing product himself, and I also don't like the way he covers his fullback. But that's a whole other thing.
I'm willing to put the jury's on one. I was willing to. I'm not one of these. You guys all know I'm not one of these guys who glaze, all our players. Like Nani Madueke for me, that's been a failure. Norgard. I think Norgard was more of a success than Nani Madueke. After I hear what Norgard was doing in the back, in terms of when we won that league, in terms of what Norgard brought into the dressing room, hearing Declan Rice talk about Norgard, it made me feel like he was, because he was a captain. He's a bit older than the rest of the guys. He really helped us in the back. And obviously Kepa cost us 2 cups. Um, like that guy, seriously, never again. So yeah, Norgard,
Yeah,
yeah, Norgard. He helped he helped with the backroom start. Helps with the like in terms of his leadership in the background helps. Madueke, he came in for a couple games to cover for Saka, but he's just not. To be honest with you, he didn't hit for me. He just didn't hit, and Kepa cost us 2 cups. So, but the others, which like five, like 8 signings, 5 excellent ones. That's pretty mint. So Mascara was a massive hit. Gyökeres, striker that won us the league. I know a lot of people for some reason hate him, but he's what we needed. Um, Eze, obviously, people like talking shit about Eze, but he's literally won us so much crucial games last season. In terms of the Crystal Palace game, he scored the only goal for that one, a screamer. He scored against Newcastle, a screamer, and of course, like we all remember his North London derbies, wins, which really don't people really understand like the psychological effect of like defeating your rivals like that in games. He also is the one who passed the ball to Martinelli for that draw against Manchester City, which was
dude,
huge.
the context of the season, man.
Yeah.
That moment, and I actually feel like at one point I pointed it out. I don't remember when I was saying it was like one point of the title I says like literally the difference right now between in this season why Arsenal was top is because of that one moment that I would say, to be honest, for all of the criticisms of Martinelli, he popped up at last season at certain points in some really clutch moments.
Yeah.
And that was sort of something that I was, and to be fair, just beyond Martinelli, one thing that a theme I kept talking about on all of our pods as we were going through the season was every one of these players are gonna play a role. They're gonna have their moment in the season, and I felt like you can. Maybe it's now's the podcast to kind of do it.
Yeah.
Where we can go through some of maybe not everybody. There are some players, obviously. I don't think Norgard had his moment. You know, although came in, won a trophy, left.
Some players had moments. Some players didn't have moments.
But most
players had moments.
Most players had moments. Like even with Martinelli, as I could say, he had that big moment against City. For me, that was a massive one.
A massive moment.
The against Bilbao when he came off the bench and after 30 seconds he scored the winner in our first Champions League game. That was actually a few days later as well. He actually was our leading goal scorer in the Champions League. Martinelli, Trossard, say no more. Of course, he's now obviously moved on to Besiktas. But for me, that goal against West Ham is the greatest. For me,
that's his greatest goal.
In my adult life as an Arsenal fan, was the happiest. Like, to be honest, were the best moments ever. Because we've had amazing moments in big Champions League nights. We talked about Declan Rice.
Yeah.
I even could go back to when Arshavin scored a winner to beat at Barcelona.
Yeah.
Like a lot of Thierry return. There's so many great, but Reece Nelson against Bournemouth. I can name so many great moments individually that were amazing. But that meant so much because we had all the pressure to win the title.
Yeah.
And it felt like at that moment that goal went in, and you're like, oh my god, we're gonna do it.
Yeah, that was so important. That game was so
Like
important.
that was
That game. We had that winner, and we also had the after review.
oh my god.
The freaking
And my brother
the
was at
riot,
that game.
the riot. Oh yeah, he got pushed on the
Yeah.
stairs. I saw that.
Yeah. He did not get pushed down the stairs. That was a different guy.
Yeah.
No, but he was on FTV. He was on
Yeah.
FTV in that one. Yeah, that was a great day.
Yeah.
I mean, Victor Gyökeres, just to go up front, of course, 22 goals throughout, 21 goals. Yeah, I had one more. 21 goals throughout the entire season. You know, I think about for me, the goal against Everton when it was 0-0, we were struggling to break Everton. Now, remember Max Dowman.
Max Dowman was also the one who crossed.
Yeah, but yeah.
Like that Everton game was like Max Dowman.
You need your striker to put the ball.
I know, but that was the Max Dowman game. That game was like, okay, no, because it's like Max Dowman was like, you're always hyped about Max Dowman. In that game, Max Dowman literally
we turned
won
him
us.
to it, yeah.
He won us the game. He came on as a sub. We weren't doing anything. He came on and instantly changed the game. Instantly. And that's when you know it's like, okay, this kid isn't just this isn't just some talent, which is Max Dowman's coming out party. This was a big talking point last season. That and by the way, that goal that he scored, that was in the Premier League put it as their as part of their compilation best goals of the season.
Yeah, the youngest ever goal scorer in history.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, and that goal
but even Max Dowman had his moment. I mean, I think that was really the moment. That was it. That was his again, as I said, that was one Gyökeres moment. He had many throughout the season. I remember as well. Me and Cal did our first ever watch along. It was away at Stamford Bridge in the semi-final of the Carabao Cup.
Yeah,
he was the one who scored to put us up, and we were literally Cal was about to give up on Victor Gyökeres forever at halftime of that game. He comes on, he scores like a massive goal that and also I'm pretty sure assists for Zubimendi as well.
Yeah.
So so he had his moments. Kai Havertz, hey, you know what? We're here. I'll say it. He scores the big goal against Burnley. He scores the big goal against Sporting to effectively put us through to the semi-final in the Champions League. He put us 1-0 up in the Champions League final. I know we don't go on to win that, but he still did his job. I still have to note that as a thing. He scored the game that put it away against Chelsea in the second leg. That was basically his first contribution, really, of the season.
He was injured for most.
So he came in. He was clutch. When he needed to be. Kai, he also was. I feel like we'll touch on when we go into some of the darker parts of the season. Contributed to some of the darker parts of the season as well, in my opinion, as like he does to do. I'm trying my best to stay off the Kai thing. Bukayo Saka. I mean, of course he was gonna have great moments throughout the season. And I thought the biggest one for me for Bukayo Saka was, of course, putting us into the Champions League final, scoring the winner that against Atletico Madrid. And of course, I think the tone setter against West Ham as well, in the few days before, or not West Ham, against it was a home game, Fulham at home. The tone setter really we needed. It was a must-win game. We needed. At the same time, though, I felt like it was a very subpar Bukayo Saka season for the most part. But his contributions from set pieces from the right-hand side, for me, was so underrated and went so unnoticed. Everyone talks about Kai Havertz putting that header against Burnley, but Bukayo Saka puts that. I could have fucking put that ball in the back of the net with how perfectly that was placed.
Don't take it away from him.
I'm not. But I'm just. I know. I can see what I'm doing. I gave it to him and then I took it away. But at the same, I'm trying to praise Saka in the same point.
The thing is, Saka's always was also like just.
And by the way, you can tell that when he's missing, all of a sudden the set pieces dried up. You had Noni Madueke taking them on that side, and it's like. We were hoping only to get them from the other side where Declan Rice.
Declan Rice also had an imperious season.
We'll get to that as well.
Yeah.
In the 10, even Martin Odegaard, right? He puts us up against Brighton. He gets the assist for Trossard. He struggled at most points in the season. He also had a good period of form, which you pointed out in like November, December as well.
Martin Odegaard probably had like 6 weeks of good play, maybe. Martin Odegaard it was a terrible season.
But
Terrible
did
season.
but I know, but we're saying, did he contribute at times?
Yeah, he
to
did.
what he had his moments.
Yeah, he had his moment.
Yeah, Cal, as nicely said. By the way, it wasn't just the Spurs games.
Yeah,
Newcastle, he puts his top. That was a massive game. Crystal Palace is a massive game.
Yeah.
Bayer Leverkusen in the last 16 of the Champions League.
Yeah.
That was for me Arsenal's, from a quality standpoint, goal of the season. That was fucking insane. And by the way, I didn't even mention, by the way, Trossard's screamer against Sunderland as well. That was would have been like a massive goal that put us up. Or was it an equalizer? I forgot at the time.
I can't even remember.
Yeah, but that was that Sunderland away game. We ended up drawing that game. So again,
I don't remember the big goals where we draw. It almost gets erased. Unless because we scored first and they came.
But would I say that was one of the goals that really was big part of his moment of the season? Probably not. I'd say the West Ham one,
the
without a doubt, was the moment of the season for Arsenal. And then Declan Rice. For me, he was one of our players of the season. He had, I mean,
we forgot.
I don't even think that Declan Rice needed
we won every single
goal scorer.
We won every single game in October that we played.
Yeah,
first time that's ever been done
without conceding.
Yeah, without conceding. Yeah,
Martin Zubimendi. Like, he had tailed off for a little bit, but that first half of the season, man, that Nottingham Forest goal,
the first 3 quarters of the season, he was insane.
That Nottingham Forest goal,
just
the one that the one that Ash said that doesn't count.
It doesn't. Yeah, the goals don't count, and then he just kept scoring. I think he ended the season with like 6 goals. I think.
No, he was pretty good. I remember he scored against Leeds as well.
Yeah, he pretty good. He scored in the Carabao Cup against
Chelsea.
Yeah, which was an awesome goal too. He has a knack for scoring some screamers.
Yeah, and then MLS, it looked like the season was gonna go by without him having his moment in the season. But I feel not only did he have his moment in the season, and I'm gonna shift this off to you, Cal, because I feel like you've become such a massive fan of this boy, especially what he did at this point. I want you to touch on the impact that he made at Arsenal,
to be honest,
last season, because I feel like he doesn't play in midfield. Arsenal don't win a title, and Arteta is gone.
He literally saved our season. Like in the season before, he was playing at left back, and he saved our season then, in my opinion, in terms of like bringing a spark. And he's also getting England starts that season as well. This season, he for some reason wasn't getting played at all in the midfield, or as well he got played in left back, but he wasn't doing well. He was completely off form to start the season because he's not really a left back, and the back end of the season, Zubimendi completely falls off a cliff because he just plays too much minutes. I think it's some of the most minutes played by a debutant like ever in the Prem. I think, did he play like 3,700 minutes?
Played a shitload of minutes.
Like his minutes. I
don't think he missed any game through injury as well.
Yeah.
He managed to make it. And he barely limped over the line in that respect, but he didn't miss.
We ran him into the actual ground, and because of that, his form dropped
basically. And he was there, but he wasn't. I feel like it wasn't because he wasn't good enough to play for Spain.
He's just way too tired. Yeah, just way too tired. And so MLS Trump comes in and completely transforms our midfield. We can actually like pass the ball forward because, like I think for about 6 weeks we couldn't win a game. Like it was just Declan Rice, Zubimendi passing the ball back and forth between each other, and then passing back to the defenders, and we weren't progressing the ball at all. And it was just horrible. And then Odegaard was just off form as well. Completely disgusting football. And this is the run where we kept losing games. We lost. This is when we lost in the.
We're gonna get.
We lost in the
Carabao Cup. I wanted to have an entire section of the dark side.
Yeah, we lost.
I want to get through the players' moments, and then we'll get into.
To be honest with you, we have to talk about this to talk about MLS in terms of because he saved our season.
Yeah, true.
He saved our season. We lost in the Carabao Cup final against City that we all thought we were going to win. We all thought that we were going to win that, and we lose. Not only did we lose, it was like we lost without even like playing well at all, and Kepa just completely cooked us. And then international break, we had to hold that loss, come back, lose in the FA Cup, and then continue to lose in the league, and then
And I think it was basically
the
due to our
draw
midfield.
against
Our midfield was gassed. Let's just be clear.
and we lost against Southampton, and then we draw against Wolves.
Did MLS didn't start the
Any
It's
of
Not
those games.
Done game at City, did he?
No, he didn't start any of them.
See, for me, that is this is if I was just gonna put from my perspective the MLS difference in the season, I can pinpoint it to pretty specifically. That It's Not Done. Do not look at Declan Rice's eyes; they are bloodshot, red. His face is like the blood is like pumping through his face. He's on the floor. The players literally dropped to the floor, all of them at the end of all these games. Zubimendi, Rice, they were running into the ground. And not just that, though, we had no inspiration through the midfield. We had no creativity through the midfield. Nobody who would carry the ball and drive at defenders and create space for the likes of Trossard, who, by the way, all of a sudden, Miles Wiskelly comes in, and Trossard all of a sudden is back to the guy who was lighting it up. I felt like through October to December, right? And is suddenly back. Bukayo Saka is back. Victor Gyökeres plays his best period of the season because you got a guy who all of a sudden, by the way, we knew that he was capable of playing this position, who literally just changed our game, drove the ball. He started all but I believe one game from that on out to the end of the season, and I would reckon the majority of those games he was the man of the match for Arsenal.
Yeah,
and that for me, I tell you right now, I swear, and this was the decision that saved Mikel Arteta's job at Arsenal.
he did.
Was finally he was like, I've been stubborn. I've never let this guy play in midfield. I know he can. Fuck it, let's just go. And it saved his job.
And not only that, I remember what game was it where he decided to put Declan Rice. I think we got an injury and he decided to put Declan Rice at right back and bring Zubimendi in. What game was that?
That was West Ham.
Yeah, it was West Ham. And then he was like, "No, I'm not doing this again." He took Zubimendi off at halftime, even though he brought him in because Ben White got injured.
Came on and then came off.
Ben White was also part of the reason
came
why.
Off for mascara.
But Ben White starting was actually part of the reason why.
I feel like I want to get through that. I also want to get through the bad period because he was a big part of that as well.
Yeah.
And I feel like that deserves in its own section in this because I feel like we have to be honest about the darkest part of the season where I did feel, and I'm going to say, and I stated that throughout the time, that a lot of the fan base started to turn on the football club.
Yeah.
They started to, I feel like, and by the way, crash out is a term. The term bottle got thrown around, and I want to talk about that because I felt like, and the way Man City fans behaved as well, that narrative for me is such a huge one in the season in terms of where it could have gone and where it inevitably ended.
Yeah,
and
I mean, to be honest with you, it was
Miles Wiskelly plays a big part in that tournament.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, we lost so much games that we shouldn't have lost.
Yeah,
that we let City back in the race because around Christmas time we were saying, "Oh, Arsenal's gonna wrap up this league." You know, it's like it wasn't really a competition. So we were thinking we're gonna have like a Liverpool season, like from the previous season, and that didn't happen. We kept dropping points, and the more points we dropped is the most like ooh, and then the bottles start coming out. Literally, it was
old
mate,
dude.
The
guy fucking pulls the bottle out.
Dude from Manchester City who got the Arsenal bottle, and that just started. Where's your bottle gone? Where's your bottle? Like serious. That was like. The pitch.
I was
actual pitch
texting Cal, and I was like, this is a time when Cal was sort of trying
to
recharge his batteries.
I completely crashed out.
But I was like,
after the Wolves game, I literally went, I can't do this.
Yeah, look, I think we've gone through most of their attackers, and then we can start. I feel like I just want to go quickly. Moreno obviously misses the entire second half of the season, but I thought he was a massive equalizer that set up that Newcastle game. Massive equalizer away at Chelsea. That was, I feel like the one where they won 1-1, right? But that was a huge. I thought that was still I think about games where I thought the Newcastle one especially. He comes on off the bench, he makes an instant impact, like equalizes, leads it to the Gabriel moment. but that's a moment that changes a potential loss into 3 points.
Yeah.
So I think that was
And that was at the start of the season.
that was the start of the season. I
That
thought
Gabriel
he was big.
header, yeah.
That the little period of time when Gyökeres was out, he, as much as we were a little bit frustrated with how the attack was looking at with Moreno there, he stepped up in huge moments regardless anyway. And I think it needs to be mentioned. Although obviously he leaves for the second half. He's injured for the second half of the season. He becomes a forgotten man. But I actually want to highlight the start of the season is just as important as the rest. Speaking of that same Newcastle game, and I don't feel like Gabriel and Saliba need to have a moment on the attacking end, but they both did in their own respects.
Yeah.
Saliba, I remember Chelsea at home. That the big corner, the one that we bullied Reece James or I don't know what it was. Who was it? Chalobah or in the box or whoever it was. But Saliba scores from that one. Timber scores the big ones. The ones against the Bayern.
Yeah.
That's the tone setter against Bayern.
Yeah.
For me was huge. That one against Chelsea,
Yeah,
I thought was huge.
beating Bayern 3.
Chelsea pegged us back in that one as well. The Reece James got that really good free kick for Chalobah, a corner for Chalobah at the end of the first half, right? And Timber had a response.
Which Chelsea game was
It's the home game
in the league?
in the league. This is the home game. This was after Spurs away.
Oh, okay, was this?
This was 2 games after the Wolves.
What was this? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't think I watched that game.
But I think our defenders, in the most part, just played their role by being the best defense. And there are times, obviously, in the second half of the season where I felt I think mostly due to, and this is why one of the reasons I think we brought Bruno, due to the fatigue in our midfield.
Yeah.
It became a tougher challenge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They weren't as imperious as they were in the first half, but in huge games, I feel like this needs to be mentioned.
Raya also needs to be mentioned.
But from that City game onwards, I don't think we conceded 1 goal in the league except until Crystal Palace on the last day, and that was that we had won the title already.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like for them to be like, no, whatever, fuck this. The door's shut.
Yeah.
And that and even in the Champions League, right? We didn't concede to Sporting in 2 games. We didn't concede to Athletic.
Yeah.
Well, we did concede to Atletico via this penalty, but not from open play.
Yeah.
Right. And they and by the way, even in the Champions League final, Mascara has a bad moment,
and that was it.
But we took the best attack in the world and we shut them out. Yes, we did. In terms of goals, balls, and back of net from open play, we did.
This is my take on that Champions League final. Never again.
I
don't care that they packed the paint for like the entire we went up and then we just packed the paint, and that wasn't the intention of that final.
I get it, but at the same time, I'm trying to highlight the contribution.
The defensive contribution is good, but that final is like.
And then before we move on, obviously to the crash out officially, we'll get into that. David Raya, and for me, David Raya was Arsenal's player of the season, and he didn't have any goal scoring contributions.
Yeah, there was like rough periods where he literally just the Aston Villa game is like, oh man.
There's the West Ham one.
The Ollie Watkins saves. Oh my
dude!
God.
The West Ham one, the Mateus Fernandes one.
Dude, that West Ham game was the most dramatic game.
I think at that point I was halfway to having cardiac arrest. I'm like,
that was the most dramatic. Not the 1-on-1.
What's his name? The Brighton game. Who's that? Minte.
That save, that Minte save was insane. Yeah, dude. Raya had like an amazing. For me, this season put Raya in the.
There was a few in that Newcastle in that game that the as a 1-0 game.
Yeah.
Where Newcastle could have they were hanging on at the end of that one, right? They brought on Waltamata and Wissa, and Wissa had a few really good chances, and Raya really saved us in that game as well. Like. Even in the Burnley game, that game was a lot harder than it really should have been. And Raya also to make some really good. I forgot what it was, but it was a moment in that second half. He made an insane save as well. This was only a few days after the West Ham one, And I just felt like every single time when called upon,
I
he
wasn't.
made huge ones in the Champions
And
League
to be honest
semis.
with you, after we won that Berlin game, I wasn't happy because we were thinking, dude, we're taking this to goal difference because they like yeah because like was like dude, but if we take this to goal difference that on the day it's gonna be tough. Um, no, that was the like the West Ham
It
like
was the day
but
before we actually won the league
yeah, and it was
officially. Yeah.
like we were thinking, if we draw on the last day, it'll be goal difference. So we were saying that we had to win on the last day of the season, and we didn't really want that. So we couldn't even start get the goals up because City were ahead on goals.
Mm,
Um, but thankfully City, started to
yeah.
bottle the league. Um, from this, they are the ones with the bottles, which was
Yeah,
absolutely fantastic.
which is I think it's a really good segue. Is we kind of brushed
Also,
over it.
Urine Timber for me also solidified himself as like one of the best right backs in the league.
Oh, great. And by the
Defensively,
way, how much did he miss his absence felt in that end part
in
of the
that final,
season?
yeah, and him and Ben White being injured at the same time, which is something that we have to
I
deal
think
with.
it costed us the Champions League.
I would of course, yeah, that for me as well, and
I mean, Timber was available, wasn't he? But he came off the
yeah,
bench eventually
yeah,
in the second half.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And Mosquera was just he's just playing out of position, trying to help. I remember Mosquera coming on because Saliba injured in the Liverpool game, in the first like 3 minutes, and then
Oh,
Mosquera came
yeah.
on,
Mesquer
and
also,
we
yeah.
didn't
And by the
we
way, Hincapié
yeah, we had was
also.
Imperious.
There were times where Gabriel and Slee were both out.
Yeah,
You remember? And both we had Capi and Mascara, who are the two new
yeah, and
signings.
they did very well.
I mean, look, I think one of our lowest points of the season, and there are a few real kick gut punches. Villa away, that was a gut punch. To lose the way that we did in that was
Oh
calamitous.
yeah,
That
yeah,
was a game where we didn't have either Saliba or Gabriel
yeah.
playing.
We lost so many games
The
in the last.
Wolves and the Wolves one, I
We
think
drew
that
so many
was.
games and lost so
I
many
think,
games
and
in
I
the last
think that
kick of
is
the
a good
game.
place to start.
Sunderland we lost, right? Or did we draw?
Drew,
We drew
we
the
were 2-1 up, so we
last kick
had
of the game.
two last kick of the game.
And then Gabriel and Raya ran into each other, and then they just scored off a header, right?
Yeah,
And we conceded the Wolves 2-0 up against Wolves. Wolves, bottom of the league. Wolves
here we go.
literally were on 5 points at the time,
Was it?
dude. They literally were like they were on track to have the worst season in the history of the Prem.
Are you talking about the home game or the away game?
I'm talking about the second game of the second time we played them.
Mm.
The
Even the first one was fucking bad.
Yeah, we won, but it was like 1-0 or something. We won like by one
Oh
goal.
no, we won 2-1. You remember they had the equalizer and then Jesus had to bail us out at the end?
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yes, yes, yes. Actually, um. So yeah, don't know why we made so much hard work out of Wolves.
Sometimes you have those teams, to be
Yeah,
honest, and even in the title-winning teams,
dude.
who's had the most weirdest teams we struggle
The
against.
Sunderland draw and the Wolves draw were like the rage, like just conceding the way we did.
Mm.
And that's why I said you're saying MLS like saved us. They saved us. Um, MLS and Ben White, and before I felt like I think just talking about like how low we got because we spent enough time on that. I think we kind of
We
got
can talk
exposed.
about. I feel like I also what you want to say.
I just want to say it's like we could also talk about the Champions League final.
Mm.
Obviously the euphoria of watching City bottle the league, groupies scoring against Bournemouth. I was like, I was watching it before work, and I was like, I can't believe this. I can't believe.
Dude,
Are we actually going to do
that
this?
was the I was fucking. I don't know. You as you saw, like I was. I got a cigar. I showed. Actually, when I get into that, this when I bought the cigar
Oh
before,
yeah, yeah.
and I feel like we got to get into that like as we progress.
I mean, what do you mean progress? We're kind of there. We're talking about the end of the season.
You know what? You know where we are kind of there, but I also want to highlight a few things before we get there, and that is something that I felt like was forgotten throughout the entire this season, and why I felt like why we were really champions and deserving champions throughout the entire season. And that is from the start of the season, I felt like we had the hardest schedule in the Premier League. and we came out of that run, just at the end of that run, basically just behind Liverpool. I think it was about we had just beaten Newcastle. I think that was after as well. We had been to Old Trafford. We had been away to Anfield, and Liverpool were on top of were perfect for the first 5 games, and it was
but even the way Liverpool was winning, we were like they
yeah
were doing just scoring last minute winners every single game.
yeah, and but also felt like a team that was what we were doing, and I felt like at the start of that part of the season, I felt like the football was better as well, but we were consistently winning. We were doing everything we can to get over the line. We were keeping clean sheets. Like I felt like Arsenal. I remember there was a time that I talk about that Villa game, but before that Villa game in December, which was the very start of December, everyone was sort of like, "Fuck me, how is anybody going to beat Arsenal?"
Yeah, we were just not conceding at all.
And we beat Bayern Munich in the 3-1 in the Champions League.
Yeah,
we beat Athletic Madrid 4-1 in the Champions League.
We were going perfect.
4-0 in the Champions League.
We were winning every single Champions League game. We were winning literally almost every single game we played.
Yeah, and I stand by what I was saying at the time, which I think maybe it would have changed and we made it all the way to the final, but I felt like depth wise, no one could have gone as deep as Arsenal could, and I still think that is what won us the league at the end of the day.
What won us the league is
we could have Bukayo Saka missing as much as he did.
Not only the depth, it was like how good we were at the start.
Yeah.
How good we were at the start of the season. Built the platform for us. So like when we had like a massive wobble, like insane wobble, like worse than any wobble I've seen in recent years. To be honest with you, because
I think we lost 5 out of 7.
Yeah, that was like our worst run of form I've ever seen.
And one of them was a 1-0 win against Sporting, which one of the wins.
Yeah.
And one of the draws was there was a draw in that period of time. No, it was both Sporting home and away. Well, the draw was in Sporting at home, but in the league we had lost to Bournemouth and we lost to City back to back. We had lost 2 of the Carabao Cup games.
Yeah.
And we also had another one in there. Or was it 4?
We lost the Carabao Cup game. We lost the FA Cup.
Was it 4 defeats? Carabao Cup, FA Cup.
Yeah.
But you know what? Actually, one thing I should highlight before we get into that though, is it was the furthest Arsenal Football Club has ever been in our existence, where there was legitimate chance where we could have won all the competitions.
Yeah, we were. Yeah,
we were up until late March.
Yeah,
late March.
We were perfect in the champs.
We were in the final of the Carabao.
Right before the Carabao Cup final, we were perfect in the champs. We won everything.
We had also just beaten Leverkusen.
We were like in the league. I think we were like
top. We were top of clear by 9 points.
9 points in the league, like heavy favorites in that Carabao Cup final.
Quarterfinals of the FA Cup.
And then it was like City were not on form.
City had just dropped the points back to Forest and West Ham, which basically, and that was after the Max Baumann moment. And then we went again, we beat Leverkusen. Yeah. I felt like that was a huge game because I felt like we needed the momentum to continue to go through that Champions League knockout. And we beat Leverkusen with like Eze and Rice scoring fucking insane goals. It seemed like not just that, our attack was starting to click a little bit. You know what I mean? And it was just like, we're winning the quad. That's when I was going out there at that time. And it's so funny. That was the first, Dan and Anton show that I did. Of course, it was a bit of a replacement for the Anton and Cal show that we did. And we went into that episode right before then, be like, why Arsenal could win the quad.
Yeah.
And then, that quad became a treble, which became a double, which obviously at the end of the day, at the very last kick of the game, became a single. But again, I'll take the single because that was one that we ultimately wanted the most to begin with. But I do kind of want to feel like
I think that champion. Yeah, I think moving on. I think just talking about just that wasn't like a recap of the season, but just moving on as to what kind of what what we got exposed, what like our biggest weaknesses, um, that were exposed, and that was kind of revealed to us in that Champions League final, because for me personally, um, that wasn't a good final. That wasn't a good final. I think it was an absolute terrible final. I know we scored that goal, and we defended for dear life, and Mascara's mistake is
I felt like that was a mistake though. We could
I
have
think
we found a weakness in there defensively, and we
yeah,
stopped exploiting it.
I think that that final exposed a lot of things. I think leading up to that final, Saka giving it the big and saying that he wanted PSG, like insinuating that he wanted PSG, and then him having like an absolute horrendous performance.
I think it
Uh,
was due to his injury.
yeah, but still, I'm
Um,
just judging him based on what happened on the pitch. It was terrible, and
on counter.
we scored that goal, and we literally don't do anything. We started the game, we were pressing. Odegaard was leading the press. He stopped pressing. That was one of the worst
I think you could
performances.
argue that this was really upset me about that. I think you could argue that of all of Martin Odegaard's
That was the
games,
worst game he's
that
ever
was
had.
one of the worst games he's ever had
No,
in
no,
Arsenal
he
shirt.
that was the worst game he has ever had in an Arsenal shirt. And that what kind of made me like I've kind of given up on Odegaard, really. Honestly, I don't really expect too much from him. He gave us, for me personally, he gave us like one really good moment, which was a really important moment. That was the the West Ham game where he literally takes the ball, dribbles it past two players, passes it to Declan Rice, 1-2, and then he passes it back to
Trossard.
Trossard, which is that was his best moment. That was his give me the ball, I'm gonna do something moment when he got subbed on, and he's capable of doing that, but I don't think he's gonna do that. And that's for me when I've kind of like, okay, you're not that guy.
Mm,
You can be that guy. You have the skill to be that guy, but you're not that guy.
mm.
Because when we needed you in that final, you kind of he stopped pressing and we go back into the shell. And I blame that game on the players more than I blame it on Arteta. Because when Arteta chose to start MLS over Martin Zubimendi, for me, that told me the intent. The intent was to attack, because Zubimendi Rice is the pivot you play when you just want to defend the whole game. You play MLS when you actually want to take it to them, and MLS tried. He tried to take it
Mm.
to him. I think weaknesses in the right back position got exposed because Ben White and Timber were both injured, and for me, they're getting to they're injury prone now. It's injury. They can't we can't get like 5 months of either one of them without like an injury happening. And for me, once you start picking up like injuries once every 2 months, for me that's injury prone. Like you're not reliable, and that's literally what happened. Um, and also the our lack of difference makers in attack. You know, we had nothing. We had that one moment that Havertz used. It was, I think it was the seventh minute. I think he scored.
It was even earlier. Was it 7th minute?
It
Remember?
was pretty early. Um, and after that, we did nothing for the rest of the game. 24% possession, the lowest possession in Champions League final history. And for me personally, I'm not. I don't think we're gonna win a Champions League playing like that. We didn't win the league playing like that, and yeah, I think it was pretty bad, and also the fact that Gabriel Magalhaes is the one stepping up to take pens in the Champions League final shootout instead of our attackers says a lot. I think it says a lot about you know what we need, and
Yeah. Look.
we end the season on a real sour note for me, going out in that Champions League final the way we did, because we didn't. For me personally, it wasn't a good game. Uh, I think when the year before that in that PSG final, the semi final against PSG, those were much better games. I remember Saka like literally curling the ball, um, top left corner, and Donnarumma like literally saving the corner from going top bins, and like watching Saka like put his hands in his head is like, dude, how in the hell did you save that? That's the type of like when you lose like that, it's like okay, like the goalkeeper was on like absolute like steroids, like absolute madness. But we didn't really do that. And I think this summer, I think it's pretty obvious based on the tone and the intent from Arsenal Football Club is we need a difference
6 minutes
makers.
was Kai Havertz. That took me
Six
a
minutes.
while to find out, but yeah, 6 minutes.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, I think I think I just need to praise Arteta. I think he did the very best, the absolute best with what he had. Madueke Martinelli played the most minutes as wingers for Arsenal, and he's like won the league with that. Like, I'm sorry, dude. Like,
So I think that's a good way to kind of highlight maybe where we were.
no, but I just mean we talked about everything. We need to talk
Yeah,
about Arteta.
right. That's what I was saying.
Arteta is like, I'm sorry, like Arteta. We mightn't agree with some of his talent IDs at times, but in terms of what he can do with the players like that he's given, he turns water into wine at times, man. Like I can't believe that with the attack that we have, that he managed to score as many goals as he did, and he managed to win us the league. Because I'm telling you right now, like no one who's gonna turn Moreno into a false nine, and Moreno's literally like doubled his goal scoring tally in his career since he's been at Arsenal just because of like what Arteta's doing with him. Like his ability to find solutions uh is insane. He's a bit of a tactical genius and he's willing to he doesn't force players to be things that they're not. He is saying, well, if you're not going to be good at this, I'm going to need you to do this instead. And yeah, I think he took us he took us from being the banter club to actually being champions again. And no one thought he was going to do it. The Arteta outers have to hold that. Um, and dude, like I like,
Massively hold that.
yeah, yeah,
Like you just really just think about what you just said.
yeah,
Like for like I'm just gonna. I feel like this is just pure logic here, but maybe how how could you think that a manager was out of his depth when he literally changed. Like I understand, maybe he thought he took us as far as he needed to go prior to winning it. I get that part, and I think that's fair
yeah.
for people
We
who
were
think of
pretty
that,
close. We were pretty close.
right?
We will get. We
But to
were.
say he's out of his depth, he's not really good enough. We need to find a
He's a
better
good coach.
manager. X Y Z. When you remember where he found us,
Yeah,
we were absolute losers. Punchline jokes. We went into every single big game, no feeling like, oh shit, I don't feel good about watching this game because I feel like we're gonna get destroyed today.
mm.
We used to go to Anfield away, our pants pulled down constantly, against Manchester City.
8-2 United.
Yeah, he took an Arsenal team, right? He saw one season.
6-0 Chelsea.
Yeah,
10-2 on aggregate.
I mean that was a lot of that was with Arsene Wenger.
I know, but I'm talking about where we were.
Yeah,
I'm talking about the pitch. I'm talking about the pits.
yeah, but exactly like you to think about the team that we used to roll out there at the start of his reign. You guys remember players like Pablo Marie, David Luiz,
Yeah.
Mustafi, I believe
Mustafi, yeah.
was there at the time.
Yeah.
Ainsley Maitland-Niles,
Yeah.
Matteo Guendouzi. Like these are the fucking players that we were
Yeah.
rolling out. Of course,
Yeah.
you had Oba and Lacazette
Mhm.
and Pepe, obviously. Saka was coming. By the way, one of the biggest things that Arteta ever did, and I feel like there's
Changing
something,
Saka from left back.
but this was something that people don't even remember. Like I think gets a lot of comparisons to Pep because he came from him, whatever.
Yeah.
But one of the actually like Pep Guardiola's greatest achievement as manager was when he took over as manager. He had Henri, he had Eto, he had Ronaldinho, and he had like a few different players, right? And he goes, "No, we've got some brilliant players coming through at this academy. There's a player named Lionel Messi, who's been incredible. He wasn't being trusted to play until Pep came. He said, "Hey, look, this is incredible talent. I'm at a young age, I'm just gonna throw him in and I'm gonna play him. But he reset Barcelona, right? A boy named Andreas Iniesta. Oh wow, just put him in. Busquets, you, PK. He brought him back from Manchester United. By the way, people don't remember PK went to Manchester United. Everyone thought that like he was a flop at Man United, right? He said no, I'm bringing him back to Barcelona, right? He basically said, look, these are the players we bring through the La Masia Academy. Fuck the big names, fuck the big egos. This is who I'm rolling with. And of course, they became some of the best players ever to play the game. But Arteta came up with a similar sort of thing. He came into a dressing room with Pierre Aubameyang, who was driving Lamborghinis, like 8 different models of Lamborghinis into training every single day. Felt like he was too big for the club. Felt like he didn't need to train hard at the club, and that was the captain, right? He had a bunch of these like, oh whatever, willy nilly, and you could see it. Go back to watch the documentary as well.
Yeah.
And he goes, no, it's Bukayo Saka, Emile Smith Rowe. You guys are playing. You guys are playing. Saka especially. Pepe, we had a player we bought. It was our record signing. Sorry, bro, you're not good enough. Saka. I'm putting in this kid. And
he changed the entire.
And he's not that. He's continued to do it as well.
He changed the entire culture of the club.
Yeah.
He's the guy who made the commissioned the North London Forever song. I made it like
changed the Emirates atmosphere.
Yeah.
From a toxic environment to what it is. I feel like something I look forward to, a beautiful atmosphere. I think that we have at the Emirates. My brother was very
the only question that we ever had at a certain point was, is he able to take it across the line? We knew he was a good coach. At least I always said, I know he's a good coach.
You also knew the players loved him. That's what I feel like.
But
people don't realize how close. I feel like we're going to get into a really good period, and we'll have other videos. We'll discuss this within this series of our vids, the kind of where we can move in from here. But let's be quite honest. There was a point we were having discussions about who could replace Mikel Arteta, or and that could have gone to a very, very dark place. People don't realize, and every single time we enter the transfer window, you see that some of the players that he's been able to bring to Arsenal Football Club, who have prioritized coming to Arsenal Football Club over anybody else, pushing their clubs to accept lower transfer fees because Mikel Arteta speaks to them on the phone, says something that we still don't know fucking to this day what he fucking says to them.
I think the biggest one
and,
for that
is they love to play for him.
Declan Rice was probably the biggest one, I think, where a player who obviously was courted by Manchester City, but he was convinced by the project, because I think he was probably one of the few ones I could say that we probably had no business probably getting over someone else. Like when I think
winners.
Yeah, and you know what I'm saying. So I think that one was a massive one.
I think that was the
biggest
part. I think that turned the tide.
That was to me, for me, that's single most important signing in Arteta's.
For me, I feel like that was the point where Arteta, and I feel like, stood up to Pep and goes, hey, I know that you were my mentor. I know that you kind of you allowed me to come to Arsenal because you felt like I wouldn't be a threat. And he was like, nah, I don't give a shit. I am going to be the biggest thorn in your side, and I'm coming to compete with you. And that year before that, we bought the league. They had gone and won the treble.
To be honest with you, I wouldn't give him that much.
No, but I would say
the thing is, that was more of the financial part of it. That was
but that's what I'm saying though. That was stopped him. This is the thing. I said this to many people at the time. To compete with Manchester City on the pitch, first you had to compete with them in the transfer market.
But that's more of a board thing. That
was huge.
Yeah, but that
was a train's momentum. We had just gotten destroyed by the Etihad in a game that we needed to win.
I know what you're saying. I know. I get you, but City that's the board thing. That's a board thing.
But what happened right afterwards? I'm trying to say that Declan Rice signing was changed the moment.
Yeah,
Same
but
with the portion for Arsenal and City in that rivalry.
yeah, but that's
So our next time we played them, we beat them at Community Shield, then we beat them at
dude.
home.
I agree, but
Yeah.
I'm saying, listen, I'm saying that's the board. Like what Arteta did is that he convinced the player, but in terms of that was like the first summer we felt like the board spent like a lot of money. Like that like I'm like Arteta did. I'm not giving him credit for like some of the good stuff that the board was doing. Like that was
So what led to
was
that?
that was like
I felt like Arsenal suddenly challenging for the league.
Yeah.
Made them feel like, oh wow, we have a really good chance of beating him.
And I agree with
We're
that.
playing a great
Yeah.
Man City side, and we're not just going to use that as an excuse. Let's be better than them. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I feel like-
That was the first summer that that the board I felt like changed because no one was expecting us to spend that much on Declan Rice. But like we didn't think we'd spend 100 million on a player. That's absolute madness. You know what I'm saying? So like I think that one was more of a joint deal. But Arteta, I think coming into last season, he was really on his last legs.
Yeah.
I think most, like I was saying, most people saying, you know, you did a good coach. You got us to this point, but are you going to be the one to take us to the promised
and
land?
then again,
But you
just
know,
before
he
the
did.
end here, you know,
He did.
he did absolutely, and I felt like one of his the as it we actually brings us full circle back to what we're talking about with MLS, right? Let's go to the dark period because I feel like there's some shit I need to get out in terms
Dude,
of
what you
the
already spoke
dark
about
period.
it.
No, but I feel like for real, like in terms of there were some things that I felt here in respect to Arteta, right? And I think this was really important to say because the things that were being said about Arteta at this time, I thought this was the time for this was make or break for him. There were conversations during this period, and where you know when we were struggling, where people were starting, and even though we were still top of the league, and we Arteta out. I don't even care at this point if Arsenal win the league. The football is crap. We're bottling it again. This guy doesn't have the mentality to win. He's not a winner. Even if we win the league, he's done it through luck. I don't even care if we win the league. I still want him out. And these were things that were being said by real Arsenal fans.
That's insane.
It was insane, but I feel
yeah.
like that was it. The minute when people were ready to really throw him out, really gave up on him because it was like again he's bottled the title again. That's when he decided, you know, and you could see he was a stressed man. You could see he started saying, "I got fire." You know, he was coming into the press conference, fire. You know, he was saying, "I'm in my eyes," and we would still.
I mean, to be honest,
games.
those press conferences started to piss me off because he was saying stuff like, "Oh, I'm going to play attacking football."
Guys, bring your lunch, bring your breakfast, bring your dinner. Right? Remember that?
Yeah, bring your boots.
Like you could tell, like,
like
he
he's
was,
people to bring the boots
and
for us to play the stinkiest football and
dude,
lose.
bring your breakfast, bring your lunch. And
I think
oh.
he said that, and then we lost to Manchester United, didn't we?
I don't remember I remember the Bournemouth one specifically. That was the bring your breakfast.
Which
bring
one
your
was
lunch.
to bring your boots? Like, oh god, it's like I need you on the pitch. It was like you're saying it's bullshit, and you're saying we're gonna play attacking football. We weren't playing attacking football. You still like we're playing like dead shit football, losing every game. It was pretty dark, and at that point, for me,
that's right. Remember, he was like, "Oh, now it's time for us to, you know, let go of the handbrake, like start to express ourselves. We can really go
play with the freedom or whatever."
Yeah,
and all the and I think the Arsenal, the PR was making everything worse because you just like everything's being scrutinized because remember they'd come up with the videos with them like playing to samba and it's like, dude, fuck you, fuck off. I don't want to watch this. Like this is bullshit. This is stupid. And we'd lose the next week.
Oh, the stupid training videos were coming out as well, and
we just lose. And at that point for me, I was thinking to myself, I don't think he has what it takes. I think I was like, thank you for getting us at this point. I'll always, you know,
that's
I'll
what I want
always
to
appreciate.
get to,
I'd always appreciate for you to get us out the mud, but I don't think you have like what it takes to get us over the line. Because I did, because it was, we were in free fall, with nothing to hold on to in terms of because nothing. We have nothing. So him not being stubborn anymore and actually changing it up saved his season. because he had the tools there. He just had to not be stubborn. Because we've seen managers die on their sword. I saw Slot just this season die on his sword, like refuse to change the football.
I mean, but if you think about during that run, right? I think a lot of our fans were right, and even I started just questioning some of the decisions. That cup final, the one against City, from I know there were some circumstances in there, like the yellow for Incapié. I felt gave them a little bit, felt a little bit of the chink in the armor, and they started. But I felt like we were so second best in that final.
It was a hard.
It was a joke. We didn't even really put a real account of ourselves in that game. We didn't impose ourselves in that game. We saw that City had frailties defensively.
We didn't even attack,
and we didn't even attack them.
No. And not only that, we had kept making mistakes in the back.
Yeah, and then
terrible game.
The same thing happened against Southampton. A Southampton side was in a division below us.
Yeah,
and we played the way we did, so passively.
And we thought
Bournemouth at home.
We thought the 2 weeks would give us enough time to just like, come on, you're gonna change, and they didn't. They just.
So I think there were reasons for us.
Yeah,
to be upset.
I don't care if he wins. He needs to go. That's hyperbole. I think people didn't really. I mean, some people.
Look, had he not won, I would have also thought he needed.
Yeah. I think we all knew that coming in, you can't finish second 4 times. You can't lose from this point. You can't be 9. We had an opportunity to go like 9, 12 points up, and like you can't do that. You can't lose from that position, and he didn't. So he got it over the line. But
I felt so at the end of it, like watching him lift that trophy, and I was actually so happy. I had tears in my eyes. I know how much, just even in that season, so ever like man, covering it, on this channel week in week out, and there were times I was sitting here in front of the camera, and I was like, guys, I slated us at certain points, but I'm like, what is going wrong? What is different? Why were we so consistent? All of a sudden, everything has fallen away so quickly. And I think we discussed a little bit about, midfield being tired. And we discussed a lot about our attack just I would say we were struggling to create chances more than anything.
We were starting to create, and that's why I was blaming the midfield, and that's why I'm so hard on Odegaard. Yeah. Because it's like we're not doing anything. Like even in the Champions League final, we didn't create any. We created one chance. We created 2 chances. One of them Kai Havertz scored, the other one he missed.
I would say even in that entire run where we looked imperious offensively, only game I could point out to was Fulham at home.
Yeah, Fulham was a game where I thought, okay, we're probably gonna go on. But even then, the 2 games after that, we just won 1-0.
The Atletico was 1-1 draw with 1-0 at that game. The Burnley, the West Ham.
By the way, that Fulham game, if we didn't win like that,
that was MLS's coming out party, that game.
If we didn't win like that, I think City win every single game. I think we made them blink. I think they shot their pants.
I feel like that is where we won the league.
They shot their pants when we won that much.
And by the way, I just want to say this, because I want to pull you behind the curtain behind some of me and Cal's conversations as this thing is coming down the pike. Cal and I, we had a bit of a silent moment during the season. It wasn't because any of us, we've always been close as brothers. We always supported Cal throughout the periods where he just needed to kind of just step away from the mic for a little bit, right? But just as things were starting to come this way, and I remember Cal were chatting, right? And after the Bournemouth game, he said, if we don't beat Manchester City, I'm done. We're not winning this league.
Yeah, that's
right. And I actually said at the time, you know what? I'm so fucking close to saying that now, but I can't. But I will say that Man City game, it's not done. And I'm not right, by the way. Declan Rice takes full credit for that. He's the leader, the team, everything that Declan Rice and that team, that what he means to that team and what that statement meant for the team itself was more important than anything any fan ever had to say. I'm just going to say that. But I do remember at the end of that game, I felt encouragement because I felt like there was something. I felt we were a little bit unlucky to have lost that game in the end. I don't feel like Man City absolutely destroyed us. And I felt like we had times, that the fact that we responded to going one deal down so quickly, I felt like that game was a pretty 50-50 game. Holland had a good moment, and they won. And at the end of that game, I'm like, and by the way, we had chances. You know, as I thought almost fucking put that before Holland.
Yeah, he did.
Right,
Yeah.
I thought a point where I thought he was going to score. I
Yeah.
thought we were in the momentum
Yeah.
before that game as well, and I was like, you know what, we lost this game, but for some weird reason, I feel more encouraged now, having lost the game that we ultimately never needed to win if we felt like we needed to win the title. Everyone was advertising that as the game. Whoever wins this game is going to win the league, and everyone was crowning City. The bottles were out before that game.
Yeah.
The Man City fans were giving out bottles.
The Man City bottle guys, like, dude.
Yeah, and give credit to the team, but I felt, and I said, and I got to say, I have to give myself kudos for this. And I played, and actually funny, me and Cal, I'll just show playing Cal the video when I said it just now, before we started recording this. I came on the football terrace at the end of that game. And by the way, everyone was there. They had the knives, the pitchforks, because I was the guy who said Arsenal were never going to fall off in first place. And by the way, only a few days later, we did for, a 48-hour period. And City went in front after us being 9 points clear at the top of the league. Everything, the world keeps falling apart. And I actually even felt, I came down on that terrace thing. I'm like, you know what? We're not losing. We're not losing the rest of the game. In fact, I said a lot more than that. I said we're not conceding a goal for the rest of the season. That basically happened until we had won.
Oh yeah, after we already won.
Yeah. And I said Man City are going to drop. I said specifically to Bournemouth and to Everton, where the camera has dropped out. Oop. Yeah, I said specifically to Bournemouth and to Everton. Hope you guys got that. I said that. Was the camera dropped out for a while or not?
No, just
for a second. Yeah, I specifically to Bournemouth and to Everton. I thought they would drop points. I literally said I could play it back for you again. You can go back. I've got that clip. I think I posted it on our socials already. I could go and do that if need be. But and to be honest, I'm just gonna be real. A lot of that was just like, fuck no, this season has been too good. We've come so far to just throw in the towel and leave it to end like this. And I felt like the team felt that way. I feel like you can make T-shirts and we can tell our kids about when Declan, the moment that and everybody was, by the way, some Arsenal fans were even taking the piss out of him. Look at this, you're performative prick.
Yeah, whatever.
Right? But the camera pans out on him, and I don't even think he knows that the camera's in front of his face. It's zoomed in from a far away, right?
And then we have the
he goes, it's not done.
Holland, I've got a good feeling.
Yeah. And I got to praise because every single other title race Pep Guardiola has been in,
he wins.
He's won it.
Yeah.
This is the first time ever. And the tremendous character, the next time we lost a football game was in the Champions League final, and it was on penalties.
We didn't lose.
We didn't lose.
Yeah.
But
in terms of,
but we ended up to win the title. And by the way, do you realize how massive, like, for instance, then to beat the Newcastle game, you know how quickly that changed? To win the Newcastle game, and again, it was shaky. Not everybody was like really convinced by that win, but we still did it. Everton game came along, that and then followed by Arsenal in the Champions League, going through to our first semi-final. Followed that by West Ham, Trossard. Followed that by Burnley. And then, we just kept putting the pressure on City. And then I want to talk about that last weekend because I told Cal, again, I doubled down after I said on the terrace, and Cal's like, they're not losing to Bournemouth. What would you tell me?
I said we'd probably have to win on the last day of the season. I said if we win, we'd have to do it the hard way. I didn't think it was going to be that easy.
Yeah.
Because everything's always done the hard way. It's always the hardest route with Arsenal Football Club. We always have to do it like that. So, I didn't think they were going to lose.
Yeah.
I actually
they didn't. They almost did. As in, they had to get a last second. The comeback, the Haaland's goal that equalized.
Wait,
right?
which is this? You're talking about the first?
The Bournemouth game, the one that won the league.
Yeah.
And by the way, this was
did they go up? They didn't go up. They lost.
They
They lost like 1-0.
no. They drew in the end. Holland scored a goal at the end.
Oh yeah, no, because they had to win.
It was 1-0.
Yeah. They had to win the game in order for it to, because they dropped too many points. Yes, because they dropped points before in the Everton game, and like if they had to.
No, we mathematically when we beat Burnley, we went, I believe, 5 clear at the top.
Yeah,
of the
so
league.
they had to win. They had to win. Yeah, you're right. And so Krupi scored, and then the last
that
the last 5 minutes of that game was disgusting. Like they were just absolutely peppering Bournemouth, and the Bournemouth players were like playing like absolute shit. Like, and who was that? Who was that striker that kept missing? He missed like
Brooks.
He missed like 3
David
1-on-ones. He missed
Yeah.
like 3 1-on-ones.
Winger, yeah. It was bad, but I want to say
I almost broke my table. Like that Brooks missing. Like it's like what are you doing? And then I remember what it was the last.
Oh, they almost scored again.
I was
it wasn't Doku.
It was Sevilla. Like who was it on that left side?
Somebody. Yeah, they almost had one. He just basically just missed.
Yeah.
Yeah, who was one of them. To be honest, it's a blur.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah, that was a disgusting.
It could have been Sevilla.
And I was like, Haaland scored. I was like, oh, here we go.
Yeah. It could have been Bernardo Silva or Rodri or Guardiola, somebody. I don't remember, but like somebody came close.
Yeah.
To winning it, and they didn't. And yeah, man, that I gotta say that moment for me, and you know, my lovely girlfriend was sitting there on the couch. She was almost holding my hand throughout those last moments. I was literally like, I just sat there. I paused, and I'm like, it's done.
Yeah,
like
it's over.
And by the way,
I'm surprised I went into work. I'm surprised I went into work.
It still took so long. I was prodding. I had the cigar, which by the way I bought earlier, called my shot even right after the West Ham game, and I said to show this to Cal, like, this is what I got. Because Cal's like, man, no, they're beating Bournemouth. No, bro, dude, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nah, I'll show you. I'll put my money where my mouth is. I got the cigars, they're ready to go. And I was pulling the cigars and the champagne. They were there on the table, man. And I remember, like, I just sat there speechless. And the first person I called, this fellow over here.
Yeah.
Man, and the conversation we had on the phone, I don't think either of us even could either believe.
Yeah.
Finally, we did it.
Yeah.
We finally were league champions.
And it's a little bit different when it's when you're not playing as well. It's less like the relief was. I think because of the context of how turbulent the season was, it was like the relief that we finally got it. Because for me, like, not winning the league last season probably would have meant the destruction of the project. Because Arteta,
that's what I'm saying. It came so close.
Yeah, it was.
And now I feel like we'll be in a period of dominance.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah. And also, like, beating Pep while he's here is so important for Arteta's legacy. It's so important for Arsenal's legacy. You know. So, yeah, man. Yeah, it was.
Dude, and just to finish off the video here and this little conversation, I was so moved, by the way, that Arsenal in celebration for the title showed the world how massive this football club is, how massive the fan base is,
just shut down everything.
The scenes I was like, I gotta say, like,
massive.
Everyone's like, Anton, come to the parade. Anton, come to the parade. Why are you at the parade? And by the way, I'll be in London, and it wouldn't be for a parade, but I'll come and say hi to all of you guys when I'm out there in a couple months. But like, I so wish that with any place in the world I was at was in North. If I was in London, I would have not even had my shirt on. I would have been like fucking going nuts.
Yeah.
I would have been off my head.
It's
like
crazy.
Just to watch everybody I knew in the Arsenal space, every Arsenal fan, I was so happy. Even the Arteta outers.
Yeah.
I even sat and I watched Lee Gunner's reaction and Northside's reaction because I wanted to because even the biggest haters out there, I wanted to see how they actually reacted to us in the league. I didn't even want them to hold it, right? I just wanted I just wanted everyone to kind of come together in this beautiful moment of unity, and just be like, fuck all the agendas we've been chatting about. And of course, they came back again in different ways afterwards, and we can cover that in other videos. But like, or not, because I don't even know if it's really necessary.
Yeah.
But the beauty of it, the amount of people that were at the parade,
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
But just the night, the reaction, like we wasn't even a game that Arsenal played in.
Yeah.
We dropped anything that we were having in
kept
our lives.
watching our favorite, like just watching damn, who's this? I can't believe I forgot his name. Ian Wright, watching him like talk,
with Robbie and
yeah, talking, looking at him, like in like giving the story about his Uber, and he's like, please, 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 because because they think they're gonna win, and they're just making their way down in preparation because in case they win, and like the dude, all the players going absolutely batshit crazy when that whistle blows. Yeah, yeah, and it's like we're back, like we're back,
Like
and
we're the like oh man.
and it's like what makes it so good is like going into next season. I know we get bogged down by the transfer window, and it stinks and it sucks, but like going into next season as champions with like Pep gone,
just this,
yeah,
man.
with Pep gone and the ability to like we're in prime position to win Premier like
And I feel like that's good
league,
lead into our next video series of videos that we're gonna have.
League title number. By the way, we're on 14 league titles. We have a shot to get 15.
But 14 at Arsenal Football Club is a magical number. That's the big shirt number at Arsenal. You know what I mean? So,
like I don't think you guys like no one talks about like 15, like if we win this league next season, 15 league titles. I'm sorry, we're in a different stratosphere in terms of
we would have 3 times as many league titles as Chelsea.
Yeah. I mean Chelsea
5. No?
Chelsea has 6 league titles.
They have 6.
So we have double.
Okay.
So we don't have to we
Arsenal.
need
Okay. No, this is not for pre.
Yeah.
Now everybody know when we're recording this video. Hand of Arsenal, by the way, has come out. The expectation is for Arsenal to announce the signing of Bruno G today. The player's already begun training at Soba. The club is still in the market to reinforce. Regardless of if we sign Romero, the player was and is very open to joining us. That's enough.
Yeah, Romero. I thought he's going to Atletico.
Why does he have to ruin that statement?
Anything else? Anything else?
That's it. That's Hand of Arsenal.
So it's just about Bruno and Romero? No one else?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. The player was open to. I think he's just trying to draw, like, to be honest, rage bait a little bit of engagement with that fact.
Okay.
Because he's not going to come to Arsenal.
Yeah. Anyway. Whatever.
But anyway, cool.
Okay.
That came up. I wasn't ever going to bring it up, but that's a big announcement. Anyway.
Yeah. So yeah. Like title number 15. I think we're in a different category, and if we capitalize on the way the league is right now, we could edge closer and closer to Manchester United and Liverpool's number 20, which is something I want to see. You know what I'm saying?
To be honest, that's 5 league titles, or even 6 to get together.
No, but like I feel like 15 is a big That's a massive milestone.
It is.
That's a
massive milestone. It's huge.
Like I think that's a big deal. I think going back to back for the first time.
Only how many teams have gone double-digit titles in history?
I think in the Premier League.
How many does City have?
They have 10.
They have 10 exactly.
Yeah, they have 10. So we need to lengthen that gap between them and us again. So
because I think depends on what happens with 1-1-5.
Yeah,
they will be back.
Yeah,
regardless if things work out with Maresca or whatever. The same thing that got them Pep.
Yeah,
we'll get them someone else.
Yeah, they'll be back, and this is a good period for us, and we're going into the new season from a position of strength. As you know, we signed Bruno, and
I think just announced.
And we're probably going to sign. Hopefully, the plan is for us to sign at least another attacker, a starter, and maybe 2, and I think that'll be enough for us to.
For me, that's what really, to be honest, just as a good way to kind of close this show. for me, to be honest, that is what Arsenal needs to do to step into the next phase. And by the way, I feel like knocking on the door and getting very close to be able to getting attracted, creating personal terms
Yeah.
with the Vinicius Jr., one of the probably the 3 or 5 best players in world football, that's part of the next step that Arsenal's going to have to take now. To I feel like Arsenal, we won the league, we got over the line, but now Arsenal have not to kick on and become a European giant, a Champions League, a real serious Champions League
Yeah.
contender.
And we need more.
When
We
people
need the
draw
first-
us, they go,
yeah.
"Fuck, we're out."
Yeah.
Like
No,
we used to feel like about other teams.
I think before we even get to that point, I think we just need to, just like we did with the league, we just need to get one over the line first. We just need to get one over the line. It's the biggest stain, so far. I think not going back to back is a bit of a stain for us.
But we're good, to be honest.
And I
If you
think
told me right now we're
because
only going to win the Prem next year,
Yeah.
I'd still take it.
yeah.
That's not disrespect that competition.
I
Like,
wouldn't
it's-
take it because I think we're gonna do more than that.
Yeah, but yeah, again, you get to title 15.
Yeah.
Go back to back for the first
In
time
terms
in
of
our...
I'm not shaking
Yeah.
anyone's hand for anything because I believe in the
Yeah,
team.
true.
Like I'm not. Why would I do that
Right.
from a
Yeah, that's a
position of
very good
strength?
point. Very good point.
Well, I'm not Chelsea. I'm not shaking your hand for something like that.
Mm.
I think we can do the double next season with the correct signing, with the correct window, and with just a little bit of luck, because you always need a little bit of luck. Whether that luck be, not having any major injuries in a season, which is a bit of luck.
Yeah.
So
And again, we've moved into a different stratosphere now.
Yeah.
But I still feel like rivals are finding it hard to cope
Yeah.
with the reality of where Arsenal has moved into.
I think once we win our second league title next season, I think there'll be nowhere to go.
I feel like that's what Arsenal do, to be honest.
You know,
I know
that
that there was a point in time last year where it could have happened.
yeah.
We could have absolutely run it in a
Yeah.
canter.
Yeah.
I feel like Arsenal need to win it at a canter.
Yeah.
I feel like Arsenal need to break the 90 point barrier.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually break it. And
Did we get to
Just-
like 89? No, we didn't get to
we got to
87, 86. No, we got to 89, didn't we?
the year,
23,
the
23,
23, 24.
23,
Was it
24.
89?
I think it was 89, wasn't it? Or was it 88?
We were fucking close.
Yeah, we were really
90. The only time we broke the 90 point barrier in our history was the Invincibles. We hit 90 exactly. So, but yeah, I feel like Arsenal need to, I think, take advantage of where we're at, where our rivals are being in transition. And because I don't know if this window of period of time will last forever. So while it's there, we need to really just...
Yeah, 89 points.
89 points. So we need to really take advantage of this.
City got 91.
Anyway, man, it has been just amazing. Just for the
Yeah.
first video that we
Yeah.
really recorded together. You know, what a journey it's been over the last year. You know, just for covering this team.
Mm.
You're like, it's actually it's a blessing that the first year of Fire Them Cannons, we won the Premier League.
Yeah, that's pretty.
You know what I mean?
good.
Like,
Yeah.
I think it's awesome. I would love it, you know, for the first 2 years of Fire Them, or first 3. Oh, well, I'm not getting ahead of myself. We're going one at a time.
Yeah, you're doing the
right?
LeBron thing.
For the first 2, say if we have the first 2
Yeah.
years, I think it's an exciting time for the football club. And by the way, it's an exciting time for this channel. I really want us to grow. I just taking the opportunity to, while me and Cal are sitting here in person. Of course, you know, we'll return back to our regular settings.
Yeah.
But being here with Cal, man, it's actually such an honor, dude, to actually meet you in person. You know, it's been, and yeah, it's we got to do this again more often. Maybe come down to Melbourne.
Yeah.
We'll set something up down as well.
Yeah.
Although maybe in the summer, because now it's freezing. I wouldn't recommend anyone to come to Melbourne. Anyway, yeah, that's all we got time for today. It was almost a 2-hour long pod, but I feel like I said to Cal before, we're willing to go as long as we need to for this one, because I felt like this is a big one. And by the way, I really the thing as I start from the beginning, make sure you're hitting the like button on this video, man. This is like a long time coming, and we're gonna also have some live streams as well. We're gonna have a series of videos that we're going to just be releasing out over time as we, I think, preview this Premier League season. I feel like we before we preview next year, you had to appreciate and soak in what was last year.
Yeah.
Remind yourselves that we are the champs. What got us there to be the champs, and yeah, we're the king until somebody knocks us off our perch. So yeah, dude, that's awesome. That's awesome. Again, it's great filming this with you guys and everyone. I hope you enjoy the video, and we'll catch you around on the flip side.
Indeed.